I want you to take a look at this clip. This is probably the longest clip that I will ever bring you. It is about 8 minutes long from Brianna Keilar on CNN. But she does a thorough and a magnificent job of exposing the complete ridiculousness of Donald Trump proposing Fox News hosts to be the moderators of the next debate. It's lengthy because she has so much to go through to show you just how absurd the president of the United States is and how absurd Fox News is. Take a listen in.
Since Trump appears to watch so much of his favorite channel that he's on a first-name basis with almost the entire roster.
Let's get a fair anchor. Somebody like the great Sean Hannity. We'll get Rush.
Oh yeah,
we'll get Mark.
That'll
we'll get
happen.
Laura. We'll get Judge Janine.
That's going to happen.
We got a lot of them out there, right? We got a lot. We'll get Jesse or Pete. We got a lot of them. Tucker is doing good. You're
going to get me killed on all the Fox talk. Let me ask you.
No. But this is a disgrace.
Kind of seems like he's kidding, but these are the people that he flocks to, the people that he says are fair. And if his wish came true and they moderated a debate, do you think they'd really press him on the administration's failed response to the coronavirus? Let's roll the tape.
The president and his campaign should simply not react to any of this alarmist COVID drivel from here on out.
200,000 people have died from the coronavirus. That is the biggest lie this century.
I think we're over this. Sometime in the fall, my guess. I feel pretty certain, very optimistic about that.
Herd immunity is our friend. Healthy people getting out there, they're going to have some courage.
78 is also the life expectancy for all people in this country. In other words, it's dangerous to be an old person who has the coronavirus. It's also dangerous to be an old person.
The point of the mask is to basically kind of dehumanize. It's to, frighten people. You don't know who's behind the mask.
By the way, here are pictures of Jeanine Pirro frightening people and dehumanizing herself, as she puts it, but masks. The CDC says they are America's greatest weapon against the virus and the best way to be able to reopen an economy. Maybe these would-be moderators at the president's favorite channel might ask him why he mocks them.
There's a very stark choice here. You've got President open up the country with Donald Trump, or you've got President mask mandate who's going to keep things closed. What do you want in the future?
Well, maybe Trump's preferred moderators might ask him about how his racist rhetoric is affecting Asian Americans, or how positive thinking isn't in itself a cure for a novel coronavirus for which Americans have no immunity.
Yes. You want to know how I really feel about the coronavirus, Juan? If I get it, I'll beat it. It's called the power of positive thinking, and I think America needs to wake up to that. I live in Manhattan. I got off work the other night, went straight into the subway. Asian guy sits down next to me, mask on. What do? Finish the ride. Then I go home and I order Chinese food. I'm not afraid of the coronavirus.
They could ask the president about whether he understands that his own actions likely contributed to his being infected.
This is like when the general gets wounded by the invisible enemy, goes and gets patched up, and then gets right back to the front lines.
And since we're heading into a confirmation process for the next Supreme Court justice, that topic would certainly come up, right? Maybe they'd ask Trump why he cast doubt on the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, saying, as it became clear that she would die, that her most fervent wish was that she would not be replaced until a new president is installed.
Keep in mind, we don't really know actually what Ruth Bader Ginsburg's final words were. Did she really leave this world fretting about a presidential election? We don't believe that for a second. If it were true, it would be pathetic.
Another big issue facing the country right now is voting. Maybe these would-be hosts could challenge the president on all his false claims about mail-in voting and widespread fraud.
With widespread mail-in voting, United States Postal Service, they will be the ones responsible for the outcome of the election. Now, with all due respect to my mailman, I've loved my mailman ever since I was a kid. But are you going to trust the United States Postal Service with the future of our country?
Washington is so fractured, the issue of restoring some semblance of unity and bipartisanship that would allow Congress to actually do its job, surely that would be an important issue to explore with Trump.
This mob, one way or another, will be crushed.
If they're not crushed at the voting booth, they will be crushed otherwise.
Nancy Pelosi is mentally ill, just so you understand. She's mentally ill. She has the shakes. Her face with old age is malformed.
Maybe they'd ask Biden about his plans for the future.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. The first thought that I have, Jesse, is for some reason, I just have this feeling that Joe Biden isn't going to be on the ticket. I have a sense that something's going to happen before the election, and he's not even going to be on the ticket. So don't even ask me if he's going to make the 4 years.
They could address the widespread nonviolent protests across the country, the instances of looting and violence we've seen, and the alarming trend of armed right-wing groups patrolling protests.
So are we really surprised that looting and arson accelerated to murder? How shocked are we that 17-year-olds with rifles decided they had to maintain order when no one else would?
Or with rates of violence up in some cities a significant issue, perhaps they talk about sensible solutions and the underlying problems that are contributing to the violence right now with President Trump in the White House.
In a Biden administration, the chaos, like ongoing lockdowns, will become trusted means of intimidation and control in every town and city across all 50 states. Holy hell will be unleashed from coast to coast.
Maybe they'd challenge the president about his baseless claims about Biden's mental state.
I don't think there's any doubt Biden's senile.
Everywhere he goes with his wife. It's almost like she's his caretaker. She makes sure that she sits next to him. She makes sure that she holds on to him. Is this what we really want in the United States of America for a president?
And with widespread consensus that the first debate was a hot mess of interruptions and name-calling, one of these would-be moderators would have to regulate that, right? They'd have to show impartiality in how they enforce the rules.
The extremely weak, the frail, the confused, kind of angry Joe Biden just got steamrolled by President Trump. Maybe he's past his bedtime. Probably stayed up too late, needs his nap. One thing I've concluded at the end of tonight is it's basically you're going to get a gladiator warrior fighter in Donald Trump.
Clearly, these prominent voices on that network won't be moderating any debate other than amongst themselves. But we show you this because these are the people the president is listening to. These people are giving the president a daily briefing, and it appears this is the one he's actually listening to.
If you listen this far, you'll realize there's not much that I can add to what Brianna Keilar has already done, but I would want to add this detail. This is the type of journalism that we need. We do not need the pseudo-journalism that looks to create an equivalence between both sides, trying to always do a both sides, that one side is as bad as the other, when one side is a collection of Nazis, white supremacists, and racists, and on the other side, you have those who oppose them. You cannot look at that and say that these two groups are the same. But that's the type of journalism that we have had for a very, very long time. And it is the type of journalism that helped make and create Donald Trump. It is the type of journalism that Donald Trump was able to capitalize and to manipulate and to take advantage of in order to become president of the United States in the first place. We cannot have what people try to determine, or people try to define rather, as unbiased journalism, when by trying to appear unbiased, you are inherently helping one side, the side that is trying to strip away our rights, the side that is marching in the streets, not protesting for justice, but protesting on behalf of white supremacy, the side that planned to kidnap Governor Whitmer of Michigan. We can no longer afford the type of journalism that acquiesces to both side-isms, because we are not equal. There are not fine people on both sides of the argument against white supremacy.